Hello and welcome to BuildASoil. And today we're doing a little behind the scenes. So we're in between seasons 3 and 4. And I want to talk about what's coming up next. You can see I have basically some empty beds. It's kind of a mess in here. This is what it looked like after our last harvest. I grabbed a couple earth boxes, a few containers, because I've got some questions to ask. I've got the semblance of a plan of what we'd like to do this round. I'd like to run it by you, see what you think. I'd also like to share with you some of the options that we have right now. And then when we're done with that, I'm gonna grab the hose and I'm gonna revive these beds a little bit just by giving them a little bit of water, and that's all. But we'll discuss some of the other options. We're not gonna be planting anytime soon. If you were reviving an older bed, you might wanna do some things different than we're doing it if you're planting it right away. So I'll discuss a little bit, but mainly this episode is just like, hey, we're about to get ready to get ready. And I want to make sure this is the plan, answer a few last questions. So let's get started. Before I go around to all 4 quadrants and go through it with you, what I'd like to do is remind you about the giveaway that we're doing right now. So if you're seeing this video right when it hits, we're in the middle of the biggest giveaway we've ever done. We went huge. We've got 3 prizes and there are thousands of dollars worth of stuff. You got a good chance to win because it's not like there's millions of people participating. From what we've learned so far, the average person that enters has about 3 points. And you know, there's thousands of people, but it's still pretty good odds. So if you've not done so, jump in to the contest. You'll see how to do it. If you've already done it, maybe share it with a friend, get an extra point, that kind of thing. It helps us out. And to remind you, this ends on the 23rd of August, and we're gonna announce the winners on YouTube on the 24th. And if you're brand new to this, do not pay attention to anyone saying you won in the comments. There's some scammers out there. We're only gonna do it via the video, and you'll know for sure if you're the winner, okay? So check that out. The link is gonna be in the video below here. So let's jump into the meat of this now. So we're about to start season 4, and I've got a number of considerations here that I'd like to share with you. My wife is gonna go into surgery. She's had a major hip surgery, recovered from it. She's amazing. And it's on her other side of her hip, but that changes our life pretty drastically on this next one, and it's super important that she gets it done. And that means that I'm gonna be gone for 2 to 3 weeks during this next round. So I think what better way to show you that if you've got something coming up in your life, that doesn't mean you have to shut down. We're gonna do the same thing here. And I'm gonna try and plan it out so that my quadrants are at least easy to maintain for the staff while I'm gone. And when I return, I'm not gonna be quite as attentive because I'm still gonna be taking care of her and make sure that everything goes smoothly once we return. It's a long recovery period. So in any case, wish her well. Behind the scenes, now you know what's going on. In the middle of this grow, I'm trying to time it. Also, as far as these quadrants go, I wanna make sure that we're doing like earth boxes and big beds and things that we can automatically or do a little bit better job at watering while I'm gone. But I'm kind of throwing a curveball in this 4th quadrant. So I have some questions about it. Let's just go around the beginning and talk. So we've got, right now it's in August, I've got a month and a half. If I flip to flower before then, like running clones or something, it could be a little bit tight. So my thoughts are, we're gonna pop seeds. And this is gonna allow me the time to germinate the seeds, slowly walk them through determining their sex, instead of sending them to the lab like we did last time. I feel like most of our viewers, they're just gonna do it the old-fashioned way. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna pop lots of seeds. We're gonna find females and males, and that might lend itself to our breeding project, which is part of another reason why we wanna pop more seeds. Before I leave, they should be sexed and ready for a transplant, which means that right when we hit Canicon, I can buy myself 2 or 3 weeks by transplanting them and know that it's gonna be super easy to maintain. So that's the plan. Wish me luck. I think like any one of you that are running, when you do gardening and it's gonna take 3, 4, 5, 6 months for a cycle, you've gotta make sure that you've kind of thought about what's coming. Quadrant 1, we're probably gonna be changing some lighting up. I'm gonna talk to Timber about that. There's some changes with the timber company, so we'll discuss that as that starts to come to fruition. But for now, just know that that might change. So let's just focus on what's gonna be under here for right now. Well, I got 4 earth boxes and we're committed to running 4 earth boxes in quadrant 1, and we're gonna do auto flower seeds, and we're sticking with Daz Night Owl. Now we've not determined which pack, but I had some of his packs around here from the last time he sent us some. And so depending on the way we're doing this is, he put up a video of me asking, hey, maybe you know which seeds to run. And so I've got the Mangoes Chem, I've got the Blue Sprayed Shoes Remix, I've got a couple of other things, but I wanted people to come up with whatever packs they wanted to see us run from Daz, and we'll do that. And then on top of that, I have another question about it. Once we determine which pack, we want to run a run of autoflowers under 18 hours of light while we're vegging in here. Immediately start the seeds. Normally, if I wanted to flower them at the same time and I'm sexing seeds and all that, I would wait to plant the autoflowers till a lot later. But my thought is we might be able to get 2 runs here out of this. So we're gonna do 1 immediately and get it under 18 hours of light. And by the time we go to flip flower here, I'm hoping to be harvesting that or close to it so we can put another round in here and do that round under the 12 hours of light and kind of show the difference. So my thought was, because we're gonna sneak an extra round, I'm not as worried about the 12-12 cycle. I just wanna get an extra round out of this, but I don't wanna shut it down. So might as well put another round in. Should we do the exact same pack back to back and show the differences in the lighting again, or just run whatever? So that's one of the questions in quadrant 1. The second question is, what soils do you wanna see? Do you wanna see all the same soil? They're from seed, so it's not gonna be identical, but I'm gonna do 1 autoflower seed per container. I'm not gonna do 2 this time. So we're gonna allow these genetics to really max out in the earth box. Do you wanna see one of all of our soils, 50-50 split? We're even considering making an autoflower recipe. I have some really good ideas about making it for faster flowering plants to kind of be out the gate ready. And we've learned a lot through building soils the last decade, and I think I can make a difference there, but it won't be ready for this cycle if that's the case. So just come up with something. That's the other thing, which recipe, and also, do you wanna see the same pack back to back on the 2 runs we're gonna try and get out of here, or different packs? Okay, quadrant 2. This is kind of a mess, so we're gonna clean this up, and I just displayed this here. I'm gonna use the EM5 to do so. The way that I do it is I go on the heavy dose. So if you look on the back, it says 2 to 6 ounces per gallon or a 1-to-1 for the worst problems. I'm just gonna put about 2 to 6 ounces per gallon, and I'm gonna use hot water, and I'm gonna dump the bucket here underneath. And then what I do is I just take a regular like house broom with a dustpan, the plastic bristles, I pop it off, and I just kind of get it all clean. And the EM5, because it's got vinegar and it's got the organic alcohol in there, it really does clean it really well. And so that'll be cleaned up and ready, and we'll shop vac it out before that. And then I'm gonna re-amend the 3x3, and we're gonna re-amend the 4x4, and we're gonna teach you how we do that just to build a soil way. No soil testing, just doing it how we normally do it. And I think that you guys will learn a lot from that. This is gonna be the 4th cycle of the Take and Bake kit. And I'm gonna use some of the space that's in here to fill it up a little bit. But right now, after a cycle, you can see there's multiple stalks here. This is from the round before, and it just literally fell out now. This is from the round we just did, and you can see that it basically just kind of wiggles loose. There's a tiny bit of moisture in there, but for the most part, it's dry on top and only moist on the bottom. So it's been shut down since I left for vacation. We harvested, it's just been shut down in here. And I'm not trying to plant it anytime soon. So I've got the hose. I'm basically just gonna mist these a little bit, get them a little bit of moisture so it starts to even out over time. If you don't have the time to slowly water dry soil, we highly recommend using a wetting agent. It's not absolutely necessary, but when time is of the essence, this will allow you to spread the moisture in there evenly, where normally a potting soil might just dump the water and then go to the bottom of the tray, and then it won't wick back up and even out in this type of setup. So I'm just gonna mist the top and not use this yet. I'll be using it soon. And then we'll show you what we do as we actually get to the day of re-amend. Today, I'm just trying to wake it up. I've got some microbe complete, and I mentioned that because I like to add some microbes when the soil has been basically dormant, kind of like going through seasons. Outdoor, you have summer and winter, and it's not always that you live in places where the soil's popping year round. So if you have living soil and you're concerned, oh no, I'm starting to let it dry out, it's not a big concern. The worms will move to the bottom, and worst case, if it gets bone dry, you're gonna lose those, but you can re-inoculate with that, and the soil's gonna come back to life. You don't have to throw it away. Keep your soil, okay? So we'll go over that later. We're going to be popping some seeds over here that are gonna be pretty special. I've got a pack here, but this is not the one we're gonna run. I talked to Kevin, but I don't have the pack here. He's shipping it on Monday. So I'll show you that when it gets here, and obviously when we go to pop the seeds. But it's from Elk Valley Heirlooms. You might recognize it looks a little similar to Rootwise. We've got a legendary grower that's been saving his own seeds for a long, long time and keeping them for his personal selection. And then he did some breeding work to make them available. Now, that's not like a company that you see everywhere. It's not like a seed bank that you can just go access. So you might have to hit him up direct if that's something you're interested in. I don't even know if he's got an Instagram. But for me, this is important. We have a huge relationship together. It's one of my best-selling microbial products, and I look up to him as a grower. And so for us to run his seeds in here, I think it's gonna be a really fun season 4. So the seeds that we're gonna run over here, we've decided are from Elk Valley Heirlooms. And I don't have the pack with me, sending it on Monday, but this is part of the genetics that's in it. This is the Canyon Queen, and that was a very special selection from Kevin to preserve his own royal crosses of the Royal Kush. And so that one is very stable, and it does really well in our environment, and I've run it before, meaning outdoors, but it also does really well indoors. I just know that here, it's perfect for locals. But what he did is he took the BioVortex, I think Blackberry Kush, he'll get in here and we'll make sure we update it when we pop seeds, but it's gonna be called the Royal Black Dog Kush. And so it's got the Canyon Queen and it's got that BioVortex Blackberry Kush in there. And I think it's gonna be phenomenal. I'm really excited what it has to offer as far as the parents. And so we'll see, and how fitting that we're gonna put another Royal Cross in the 3x3 bed where we already ran some Aukid seeds in the past. And those were a Royal Cross, and it was the Branson's Royal Revenge. And if you look, we've got a giveaway in here that is from, I think it's the third prize, I'm not sure, but we have a Westlow seed that used that to do some breeding with, I think, Durburger, and they called one the Branson's Royal Revenge Burger, and it was like the burger, I think is what they called it. I thought it was awesome. Anyways, I've not run those, but we are gonna be running another Royal Cross here. So that's really what I was getting to, and that's gonna be in the 3x3. And then let's talk about the 4x4, because we've decided which seeds we're gonna run here also. We've got a few packs from the same breeder, might as well grab them all. And so these are the ones that I was looking through for my personal stash that I wanted to run, and let me tell you why. We ran the halitosis, and it's one of my favorite plants of all time. I've got the number 8 out of that was my keeper that I just absolutely love. I've got other people around here that are growing it that love it. I've got a mom outside at my house right now that I'm gonna be flowering. In any case, that had me thinking, man, that went really well. I like the parents that were used in that as far as the Chem de la Ken. And so I went and grabbed a whole bunch of covert genetics. If you haven't heard of them, that's where the halitosis came from. And I just kept coming back to this one. The Straw Nana, which is it just dumps. It's a really good washer. It's got very unique strawberry terps on it. And the creaminess, I mean, literally it's one of those that it's like, oh my God, this is named Straw Nana and it tastes like Straw Nana. And it produces really good rosin. So the Straw Nana to the Chem de la Chem, which is the Chem D I-95. And I'm just like, I wanna do it. And the name is epic too. It's called Fruit by the Funk. Fruit by the Funk, I love it. Covert, you didn't even know this, but we're gonna run your Covert Genetics, Fruit by the Funk. Thank you so much for hooking us up in the past. Everybody that runs your gear loves it. So this is gonna be really fun for us. We're gonna put it in the 4x4 bed where we originally did the Pacalola 1 in Coots recipe, and we're gonna re-amend this. So if you had our Coots take and bake, or if you've used a Coots style recipe like LOS Ollie or LOS Malibu in the past, the re-amend that we do here will be directly related to exactly what you should do. And I think it's gonna be great. We've had tons of people ask us about re-amending, and that's part of why we kept this. It's gonna be its 4th cycle on the 3x3. People really wanted to see us on the 3x3. Part of how we chose to keep this was we did a poll to our members, and the members voted 80% of them to keep this. The members, they have a little more leeway with us, and so since they voted to keep it, we're gonna keep it. On the 4x4, I thought, well, that's too heavy to move, so done, we're gonna keep it, right? Work smarter, not harder. We'll re-amend that, we're gonna run the Straw Nana. Now over here, I do have some questions, so this isn't totally determined, but I have chosen the seeds. Let me show you what we're working with. So in the giveaway, we had a Kid Kaya pack that is not for sale. That is a limited production run, and that's part of the giveaway. So if you wanna win that, you can enter. But if you'd like some seeds from Kid Kaya, he's a local homie. I have no idea where you can get these from, but he's on Instagram under Kid Kaya, so you can just hit him up. Maybe he'll tell you where they're available. We've got several of his packs in the store here just because he drops them off, and we offer them to locals. And the reason why I do that when I share seeds is we don't have a seed bank, we don't sell seeds, we're not affiliated with any of that. I just do soil, right? But I know him. And I know when he moved to Paonia, and I know the type of farm that he has, and the type of person that he is, and the type of genetics that he likes. And I can see him working super hard on the breeding. And then he brought his seeds down here, and with the wax seal and all the stuff, I mean, he's really, really passionate and really cares. And then on top of that, we were like, all right, well, let's pop some seeds. I grew some at home. Dean behind the camera grew some. Like, everybody here has really enjoyed it. One of the things that we notice is all of them are full of flavor, really loud. Pop the jar, everybody wonders, you know, what was just opened. That's what I want for you. That's what I want for people to experience in living soil. And so we're gonna do that. And on top of that, he mentions sometimes he'll use smaller containers because he's got a lot going on. And we've had a number of people say, can you just show me how to do like a 7-gallon like I would do at home? Not as many people do the big beds. And I know that. I know that some of us think the big beds are the best thing ever. But a lot, I'd say the majority of growers are gonna grow in a smaller container, especially when they're first starting. It's a big commitment to do anything else. And so in this quadrant, we're gonna really give it a run to do the best quality that we can in a small container. We're not gonna try and max them out and push it too hard. We're gonna really focus on making the genetics shine. And I think it's French, you can look it up, but this is the Soleil Levant, and it's a cross of Gelato 33, Ox, and Muffins. The Ox is from Rare Dankness, and that is a Bubba Kush cross. And the Muffins is an Oz Kush crossed to Muffin. And the Oz Kush is something that I've purchased a pack of Oz Kush before at the Emerald Cup directly from Dying Breed Seeds, because it was the Eddie Lep Kush crossed to the Skittles. And I knew that it was popular and I knew that it was gonna be good, and it was some of the best seeds I've ever popped. And so reminiscing, wishing that I'd kept that around, knowing that that's in the muffins. On top of that, I asked Kid Kai, I said, out of your packs that I have, which one do you think that I should run next? And he says, man, I really like that Levant. So I'm gonna pop it. But to be clear, everything we've ran from his is great. So the Levant's gonna go over here, and I've got a couple of questions. So we've got these 7-gallon plastic pots that a lot of people use. You can see they're 7-gallon, and they're thick and strong, and we'll put a saucer under it, or we can use the Grassroots, which I like a lot as well. They're a little easier to ship, but they fall in line with our living soil beds. And although they're not completely lined, they do have a food grade plastic liner. And so they do maintain the moisture in here a little bit better than just the straight cloth that kind of dries out a little fast. And I mentioned we're gonna be gone for 2 to 3 weeks. I'm gonna have to have staff help me water. So I was thinking the hard plastic would hold the most moisture in there, and that might be a good option knowing that I'm gonna be leaving. But some of you might be tending to overwater in a hard plastic pot. So just know that, right? If you're in a hard plastic pot, it might be taking slightly less. We'll go over all the tips and tricks, but normally you're gonna be able to, on a 7-gallon, feel the weight. And so it's not gonna be hard to be accurate. Where over here, you can't really get a grip on the weight. And so you really have to watch how much water you put in. But there's still gonna be differences. And so my question to you is, should we run 4 of these? Should we run 4 of the plastic? Should we do half and half? I'm kind of leaning to all 4 of each, so I don't have to make it too complicated, but realistically, I'd probably do whatever you want. I really want to hear from all of you on this one and see what you'd like to see us do. So I'm going to ask you right now, do you want to do 4 plastic, half and half, 1 of each, whatever you want, I'll do. But we're going to do 7 gallons in this quadrant. And the main difference is, on the smaller container this time, we're not going to do a drip system. I'm just going to water by hand and show you how that's done like you're going to do at home. And it mirrors similar to the amount of soil that's in the earth box. The earth box can hold more, but when we first start, we just put 1 bag of soil in there, and these will hold just a little less than 1 bag, so it'll be similar. Those are the questions. I've told you about the genetics, and we're gonna pop seeds, and we're gonna have 4 in each quadrant. We're gonna keep the plant numbers lower right now, and I think that's better. I also think it's gonna allow each plant to shine. When we had multiple plants in these beds, some of them kind of got cannibalized. And again, we're only gonna put 1 seed in each of the earth boxes for the autoflowers. To wrap it up, questions? Which soil on the autoflower? Should we run 2 of the same packs back to back or different packs? Other than that, we'll show you how to re-amend here. Which soils do you want to see here? Which containers do you want to see here? Really, those are the main questions. And pretty soon we're going to kick this off. I've got to clean up in here. So today's a big day for me in the sense that this has been shut down and I've not really wanted to unzip it and get started because we're busy. And so this video, to me, kind of lights the fuse. Time's ticking. We've been asking questions. We need to get this started. And so that just kind of gets me going. And it makes me want to plant seeds and get that next round started. On top of that, we're about to kick off the 10x10 vegetable series. We really want to create dual education, good for family. And I think more important than ever is growing your own food. I think right now it's more important than ever to be growing your own food, nutrient dense, probiotic, and alive. Like when we show you how to grow in our vegetable 10x10, we're not going to pretend to be some expert. I don't want to make it complicated. We're going to have house plants, area to hang out, food to eat. We're going to grow some holy basil. Coot recommended that. A few other things that we've really enjoyed. And a lot of the plants that we're going to grow are going to be complementary to using in here where we want to supercharge things. So lots of fun stuff coming up in the veggie 10x10. But for now, let's wrap it up in here. I've got a few things to do. I need to water like I said I was gonna do, so I'm gonna grab the hose and get started on that. One last thing about our giveaway is we have some secret codes. If you're watching along and you've heard about the secret code for our giveaway, in our next video and the next couple of videos until the contest ends, we're gonna announce a secret code. And so when you see me say the code, and that will allow you to go into the contest and just type it in and you're gonna get 5 points for it. So it's just some extra entries. And knowing that the average person only has three points, if you watch for the secret code and you get the 5 points, I think it'll help. So it allows us to do something unique. We've never done it before. And so I hope that you guys enjoy it. I put the Chapin can here because a lot of times that's what you're gonna use at home and that's what I also use. I'll put my wetting agent in there and I'll just water it slowly. But today these are kind of dry and I'm not in a rush to get planted. My whole goal is just bring the humidity up in here a little bit. I'm gonna test the NIWA app in here, make sure that everything's kind of firing before I get started. And we'll talk about that as we go. So let me move that. This is all hooked up to a big boy filter. And I like that. I run the tall boys at home because they're more cost effective, but it like piddles the water out even though it's filtered, where when you're using the big boy, it actually has a hose stream to it. And I really like the pressure that the big boy allows. So if you're somebody who has a lot more to water, the big boy filter is a great way for the BuildASoil way. And you can tell all I'm doing is just going around, blasting the top. I'm not gonna completely saturate it because it'll just run out and sit in the bottom. And I'm not calculating the percentage because I'm not gonna be anywhere near 5 or 10%. I'm just gonna get this a little bit wet. I gotta water that last bed, that's all, just a little bit of water. I promise when we get to doing the re-amend and actually doing the detailed watering, we'll tell you exactly what's going on. And then as soon as I get to popping the seeds, next week, we're gonna record that, and then that'll be the kickoff, season 4, episode 1. So I promise it's coming really soon. We'll get back to the good stuff really quick. And what's so cool about this next cycle is we're gonna have autoflowers flowering while everything else is vegging. And I think it's gonna lend to a pretty cool episode, or a pretty cool series. So in any case, thanks for watching along. And until next time, I'll see you guys on the next BuildASoil episode.